What if someone who is known as the evilest villain of all time was only able to take power with the help of the CIA? How would you feel about the fact that one of the most sadistic dictators of all time was placed into power by the Americans? You probably already know how this story ends with the Americans hating him so much they took him out in 2003, but what we are going to reveal today is not exactly what you think. So make sure you stick around till the end of the video. Hello and welcome to our channel where you about to discover the shocking secrets of Saddam Hussein's rise to power. His regime left thousands dead, but it was made possible by some pretty shady deals with the US government. Make sure you stay tuned, because we've got some crazy revelations that will blow your mind. Let's get started. Saddam Hussein is an infamous dictator whose regime of terror left thousands dead and his country in ruins. But how did he come to power? What were the events that led to him becoming the ruthless leader of Iraq? Surprisingly, it all began with a stroke of good fortune. While attending a funeral in 1968, Saddam Hussein met a man named Abdul al-Aziz al-Ubaidi, a Sunni Muslim like him. This chance encounter would change his life forever. Ubaidi was close friends with a powerful Iraqi general named Arif al-Jaburi. And when Jabri decided to defect to Jordan with the help of Saddam, Hussein and Ubaidi, their fates became intertwined. In 1969, the Ba'ath Party was gaining popularity and had become a threat to the ruling regime. So the president offered them a deal: join his party and work against the communists. In return, he would pardon Saddam Hussein's past crimes, which included the murder of 2 policemen in 1960. Although tempted, Saddam Hussein refused, citing his loyalty to the Arab Socialist Ba'ath Party. He even went as far as to have a falling out with his friend and benefactor, Abdul Aziz al-Ubaidi, over the issue. This decision would prove to be a pivotal moment in Saddam Hussein's life and would set in motion the events that would lead him to become the president of Iraq. Saddam Hussein was a master manipulator and opportunist. He understood the value of political connections and used them to his advantage throughout his career. After refusing the president's offer, Saddam Hussein found himself in a precarious position. But instead of backing down, he doubled down on his commitment to the Ba'ath Party and worked tirelessly to advance its goals. His efforts paid off, and he was rewarded with a key role in the party's new military wing, the Fedayeen. This gave him the opportunity to demonstrate his leadership skills and also put him in a prime position to benefit from any successful coup. In 1968, Saddam Hussein's chance finally came when the Ba'ath Party, along with other military units, orchestrated a coup that ousted the government of General Arif al-Jaburi. Saddam Hussein played a crucial role in the coup, and as a reward, he was appointed as the governor of the newly created First Region, which encompassed Baghdad and the surrounding areas. It was a significant promotion and one that gave him considerable power and influence within the country. However, it was just the beginning of his rise to prominence. While serving as governor, Saddam Hussein wasted no time in stamping his authority. He purged anyone who posed a threat to his power, including those who had been loyal to the previous regime. He was ruthless and cunning, willing to do whatever it took to secure his position and eliminate his rivals. One of his first acts was to target the wealthy landowners who had supported the former regime. He confiscated their property and redistributed it to the peasants, hoping to win their support and solidify his power base. This move was seen as a betrayal by many of the old regime's supporters, but it proved to be a masterstroke by Saddam Hussein. The peasants were grateful for the redistribution of land and became loyal supporters of his regime. But Saddam Hussein was not content with just eliminating his rivals and winning over the peasants. He also needed to modernize Iraq's security forces and intelligence apparatus. To achieve this, he reached out to the Americans and other Western countries and offered to normalize relations and open Iraq to Western investment if they provided him with assistance in building up his security forces. This was a shrewd move and one that would have far-reaching consequences. With the help of Western technology and training, Saddam Hussein was able to create a brutal and efficient security force that would become notorious for its ruthlessness. One of the first things Saddam Hussein did when he took power was to create a special security force tasked with eliminating his enemies. He called it the Special Security Organization, or SSO. The SSO was a highly trained and effective unit that carried out assassinations, tortures, and other extrajudicial killings with impunity. They became feared throughout the country and were instrumental in crushing any dissent or opposition to Saddam Hussein's regime. These tactics were extremely effective and helped him to consolidate his power and eliminate anyone who could potentially challenge him. Despite his brutal tactics, Saddam Hussein was also a master propagandist, and he used this skill to his advantage to win the hearts and minds of the Iraqi people. One of his key propaganda tools was the use of social welfare programs such as free education and health care. He also built schools, hospitals, and other public buildings to show the Iraqi people that he was committed to their well-being. These programs were particularly effective in rural areas where the people were poor and desperate for help. By providing them with basic services and showing them that he cared about their welfare, Saddam Hussein was able to win their loyalty and solidify his power base. However, there was a sinister side to these programs. By providing the Iraqi people with essential services, Saddam Hussein was able to create a dependency on his regime. This made it difficult for the people to imagine life without his regime, as they relied on the government for their basic needs. This, coupled with the ruthlessness of the security forces, created a climate of fear and made it almost impossible for anyone to stand against Saddam Hussein. The creation of the Ba'ath Party's Special Security Organization was a turning point in Saddam Hussein's rise to power. This highly trained and secretive unit was responsible for carrying out assassinations, tortures, and other extrajudicial killings of those who opposed the regime. The effectiveness of the SSO cannot be overstated. It played a major role in quelling any dissent or opposition to Saddam Hussein's rule, instilling fear and obedience among the population. But the impact of the SSO went beyond just eliminating opponents. It also served as a tool for consolidating power and wealth. By instilling fear and silencing critics, the SSO allowed Saddam Hussein to operate with impunity. He was able to enrich himself and his close allies through the exploitation of state resources without fear of exposure or accountability. This created a culture of corruption and cronyism that permeated throughout the regime. To ensure the loyalty of the military and security forces, Saddam Hussein implemented a series of measures. He promoted his loyalists to key positions and replaced those who were not trustworthy with his own hand-picked candidates. He also introduced a system of rewards and punishments to incentivize loyalty and weed out potential defectors. Those who demonstrated unwavering loyalty were rewarded with promotions, bonuses, and access to the regime's vast wealth. On the other hand, those who showed any sign of disloyalty or disobedience were swiftly punished, often with torture or execution. It was under Saddam Hussein's leadership that the Ba'ath Party truly became a symbol of oppression and tyranny. He used the party as a vehicle to acquire absolute power and crush any opposition. The Ba'ath Party's ideology, which had once promised progress and prosperity for Iraq, was twisted and distorted to serve Saddam Hussein's interests. It became a tool to justify his brutal crackdown on dissidents and his lavish spending on military and intelligence apparatus. The Ba'ath Party's demise can be traced directly to Saddam Hussein's rise to power. Under his leadership, it lost its independence and became synonymous with repression and human rights abuses. While Saddam Hussein was undoubtedly a ruthless and calculating leader, he also possessed a certain charisma and charm that made him popular among the masses. He was particularly adept at playing the role of the strongman, and he used this persona to cultivate a cult-like following among his supporters. Saddam Hussein was careful to cultivate a public image that portrayed him as a strong and decisive leader. He was often seen in public with bodyguards flanking him, and he made sure to be photographed and televised at important events. This created an aura of power and invincibility around him that made him seem untouchable to his followers. In addition to his carefully crafted public image, Saddam Hussein also used propaganda and censorship to control the narrative about himself and his regime. He had complete control over the media and used it to promote his agenda and silence his critics. This allowed him to shape the way the Iraqi people viewed him and his regime, and to portray himself as a benevolent leader who had the best interests of the country at heart. As Saddam Hussein consolidated his power, he turned his attention to the Kurdish minority in northern Iraq. The Kurds had long been marginalized and oppressed, and Saddam Hussein saw them as a threat to his regime. He responded by launching a brutal campaign of ethnic cleansing and genocide against the Kurds. Entire villages were wiped out, and hundreds of thousands of Kurds were killed. This campaign of violence not only solidified Saddam Hussein's reputation as a ruthless dictator, but also created a lasting legacy of fear and hatred among the Kurds. Saddam Hussein's rise to power was a combination of factors, including his own ambition and ruthlessness, the weakness of his opponents, and the support of external powers. However, one of the most surprising aspects of his rise is the role that the Americans played in it. Through their support of the Ba'ath Party and their willingness to overlook his human rights abuses, the Americans inadvertently helped Saddam Hussein to consolidate his power and become the dictator of Iraq. This legacy continues to haunt the region and the world even today, and that's it for today's video. We hope you enjoyed learning about the shocking secrets of Saddam Hussein's rise to power. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And as always, thanks for watching.